So only what people can see is above the surface. But what they can't see is the work that's been done. The root system is the know-how, the process, okay? Humility, the way you guys handle more than anybody in the city. One step at a time. Right? But the root system's in place. The root system's in place.
It's week number 15 of this NFL season, and time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy here inside the Globe Life studios at the Star in Frisco. It's the Carolina Panthers this week. It's an early kickoff on Sunday, noon Texas time. And Coach, when you look at this Carolina team, it's a team that in the last 5 games they've played all one-score games and really been a competitive team the last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like anything, they're young. They've had a lot of moving pieces in the first half of the season, but they've been consistent. And I think it's not as much scheme, but it's just more the consistency within the concepts that they've kind of bought into.
How about your team, the sort of the mental state of the team coming off the emotional loss on Monday night with a short week this week?
Tough. I mean, that Monday night loss is definitely one of the toughest ones we've had in my time here, clearly. You can, definitely feel that in the locker room. But, Wednesday came in late, and, I feel good about what we got, in the bank so far this week. But this group has really been very consistent, as far as in their preparation, pretty much throughout the year. So we'll be ready to go come Sunday.
All right, let's talk about your run game a little bit. It's really been coming on here in the last few weeks. Why do you think there has been improvement in the run game here?
Well, start with the scheme. I just think we've done a good job of frankly kind of cutting it in half as an approach that we've taken. Just because, for instance, like Cincinnati is multiple front defense. We're going to see the same thing in Carolina. Obviously a different origin. So I think just really making sure we're keeping the edges covered up and just letting our guys win with second and third reaction. And it's just like anything. How do you attack the C gap in the run game? How do you stress the force and the contained players? And I just think, a little more downhill approach and just really letting Rico and, the running backs get behind their pads and run. So I've been very pleased with the last couple of weeks.
Rico Dowdle going back to North Carolina, of course. He went to high school in Asheville, North Carolina. I did some research on his high school career. His senior year in high school, they moved him from running back to quarterback. Team went 11-2. He ran for 2,500 yards. He passed for 1,500 yards, had 63 touchdowns. He basically was part of 5 touchdowns a game his senior year in high school.
I mean, if you talk to Rico, you would have thought he ran for 7,000 or he threw for 7,000 yards because all he talks about is his quarterback days. No, but Rico's in a groove right now. It's important to get him his touches, his opportunities, primarily in the run game, but also, he's a weapon coming out of the backfield. So, hopefully we can get him some more, more opportunities, even if it's on third down.
I know you don't want to give away things like this, but has he been lobbying for the halfback pass?
The halfback pass. Yeah, the halfback pass is always available, but 80% rain. I don't know if it's going to come off the call sheet this week.
There you go. All right, when you look at this Carolina defense, of course, Ejiro Evero is the up-and-coming defensive coordinator in his second year there, and Dom Capers, sort of a mentor, senior defensive assistant. Some familiarity there when you look at their defense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I was with Dom. This was the defense we ran, in Green Bay for 9 years. EJ was also on our staff at one time. So they've done it, but EJ's put his spin on it. There's definitely some more variation in the sub packages, but their starting points pressure. They come at you with the volume of it. Do a good job setting the edges, in their 5-man spacing fronts. So this will be a big challenge for us schematically, clearly.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant, was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. And time now for David Moore, not of the Carolina Panthers, but of the Dallas Morning News. Yes, there is a Carolina Panther wide receiver who plays quite a bit by the name of David Moore.
He played quite a bit in Seattle as well.
That's right.
That was my previous stop that I think I really liked best. But
He's a journeyman
I do
wide
like
receiver.
Charlotte. Yeah,
He's
well,
a journeyman.
which again, there are some similarities.
Yeah. He's a journeyman, but you are a mainstay with the Dallas Morning News for
Yeah.
years and years.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about this team, and you are also a mainstay going into that Cowboys locker room. And I want to hear from you what that locker room has been like this week on the heels of what happened on Monday night.
Well, the mood's a little different than it was in the immediate aftermath after the loss to Cincinnati. You know, I believe Mike's words were it was as heavy of a locker room as there's been this year. And I maintain, I know this has been a disappointing and frustrating season for a lot of the players and fans, but I felt that loss to the Bengals hit harder than any other loss this year. And I think it was several things coming together. It was the loss of a respected and well-liked player in DeMarvion Overshown, knowing what he went through to get back, seeing he's going to have to go through that again. It was the fact that they felt they were starting to play better. If they could win that game, get back to 500, then play the thing out and see where this went, that was basically stripped away with that loss. And just the way they lost it, making a play to look like they won it in the final 2 minutes, only to see it quickly turn or devolve into a play where they lost in the final 2 minutes. I think it hit them harder emotionally than anything all year. And I think there's an accumulative effect. So I really think this game in Carolina coming up this weekend, you're going to tell about this team, because there have been good teams in the past, not just Cowboys but elsewhere, that once they get to that point, break. We'll see if this team breaks or if it's resilient and comes back and fights out these final 4 games.
You know, it's going to be a real test for this team, but the whole season's sort of been a test like that. And this, you know, there's going to be injuries on any team throughout the league, but it's the rash of injuries. I mean, the number of players who have been on injured reserve this season is up around 20 now, including nearly 10 starters on this team. That is something that this team, the way it was put together because of the salary cap issues that this team had, that was very difficult for them to overcome.
And that's the key. It's not just the number of injuries, it is to who they have occurred to your starting quarterback, to your top 4 defensive ends over the course of the season, to your best linebacker now, to your number 2 receiver and Brandon Cooks. It's been one after the other. And talked about the accumulative effect emotionally. It's the same thing physically. And they fought through. That they're still, you can tell they're still playing hard. They're much more limited in what they can do, but they're putting themselves in games now where there was a stretch where they wouldn't, which I think shows you the pride they have in going about things. But finishing it out, it just happens. It's been a domino effect, and it really has impacted their ability to succeed this year.
All right, David Moore, the Dallas Morning News. We appreciate it. Up next here on the Mike McCarthy Show, Will McClay will join us. We'll take a look at some of those top performers for the Carolina Panthers, and we continue in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with blockchain.com. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
They're very multiple. We played them last year, same DC, which kind of helps. But multiple, bunch of guys playing hard. They got veteran safeties back there, and a real good couple corners, veteran guys. So the whole secondary's got veterans, which makes a difference. And they're playing well right now.
Got to come out there and let the game play itself. Like I said earlier, I don't really pay attention to the rankings and the matchups. It's the NFL. You can go anything liable to happen. They can come out there and have a good day. But yeah, so just the game will take care of itself when we get there.
just got to go out there and do what we do as a D-line. Obviously, we just got to, keep our heads together and, start to stop in the run and either attack the passer.
I feel like I've done a good job so far. I always think there's work to do. That's just how I am as a person and as a player. I always think I can get better, and so I'm going to find those things that I need to do to improve.
Any given Sunday you can lose. Everyone has good players. Everyone's professionals at the end of the day. So, if you come out there executing and doing your job, you can easily win the game. So, they got talent. Bryce, former Alabama guy, he's got a lot of arm talent. He's got receivers, veteran Adam Thielen. So, they got a lot of guys.
So as we're walking you back here into the Globe Live studios, Will McClay joins me now. And these Dallas defenders, what are they up against this Carolina offense? Let's start at the running back position. How about Chuba Hubbard, who has his first 1,000-yard season, Will?
Yeah, and he's in the top 10 of rushing. And what they've done is they've adjusted. They're running the football better, making the quarterback more comfortable. Starts with him. So we're going to look at him right here. One of the things that he does best is set up his blocks, and then he's able to separate laterally and vertically. So you see it here. He sets up the block, and then he's able to separate, and then he's got speed to get you some chunk yardage.
You can see a little bit the former fourth-round draft pick out of Oklahoma State, why he's gotten a second contract in this league here.
And here's another look at it. Again, it's the ability to get downhill. He pauses to set up blocks and then making the appropriate cut, and now the ability to separate. That guy's in his face right now, and now he squeezes through that tight space and runs through arm tackles. It's his vision and his explosion.
All right, let's take a look at the young quarterback, the veteran receiver, Bryce Young in his second year, and Adam Thielen, who came into the league back in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback's number one thing is a savvy veteran receiver. They're establishing a relationship. Again, they're running the ball. Now they're going more play action, and he's relying on Thielen. He's in the slot. You'll see him here. Now he makes he's going to run a double move route. See the quarterback. He trusts him. He knows he's got man coverage. A great throw, a great route.
All right, and Bryce Young was sacked 62 times last year. They've shored up the interior of their offensive line in free agency this year, and it showed on film.
Yeah, okay, we're going to take a look at it here. It's 3-by-1, so then we talk about the quarterback and reading coverages. Again, settling it down for him here a little bit. They got 3-by-1. He's looking at the safeties. Looks like split safety. They rotate down, all right? Now he's going to look at it. He's going to identify it, and so will Thielen. All right, Thielen makes a move. The safety's gone. He steps up in the pocket, and he makes a throw, trusting his receiver.
All right, Bryce Young was a former number 1 overall draft pick, and on defense, number 7, Jadeveon Clowney, a former number 1 overall draft pick too.
Yeah, and he's their pressure guy off of the edge. He's got 3.5 sacks this year. He had 9.5 last year. Still the same thing. Predominantly rushing from the defensive left side against the right tackle. Gets off. He's a good athlete, and then his ability to turn the corner, and he's got those long arms, and he's a presence we got to look out for.
Another guy who is a high draft pick for Carolina, J.C. Horn out of South Carolina also.
Yeah, what he is they play a bunch of different coverages, but you'll see him in zone coverage and in man coverage, but in zone coverage does a really good job with his eyes, reading the quarterback. You got motion here, all right? He's going to see it. He's going to read the quarterback. He's in zone, sees what's coming. All right, now watch this play, the athletic play. He's got his back turned, but that's just an incredible athletic play, things that he can do on the field.
All right, just an example of some of the guys the Cowboys will be facing in Carolina on Sunday, and more of the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. As the coach rejoins us, let's talk about this Carolina offense. Dave Canales, first-year head coach, was at Tampa Bay last year, and for many years with Seattle, with Brian Schottenheimer, in fact, for I think 3 years there in Seattle. What do you see when you look at this Carolina offense?
Well, starts up front, and definitely in the run game. I like the way their offensive line's playing. Definitely a salty bunch, scrappy bunch. And and they're doing a good job, not only running it, but the action passing game off it. And you can see Bryce is in a pretty good rhythm. He's making a lot of plays, extended plays above the 2.3. And I just think they're not doing a whole lot of things, conceptually, but they do a really good job of keeping the offense in favorable down and distance.
And that's one thing that they did. They invested heavily in their offensive line, the interior guys, Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis in free agency. You played against Carolina last year, saw Bryce Young last year. What have you seen in Bryce Young, the improvement from year 1 to year 2?
Oh, he's definitely grown. I mean, Will Harrington, the quarterback coach over there, was with us last year, so he's doing a really good job there. But no, he's definitely so much more comfortable. I think you just clearly, just to see the way he gets through his progressions and in his extended plays. I mean, just take the Philadelphia game, that last series. He has the team in position to win the game. Made a throw that could have potentially won the game. So, but yeah, he's playing with a whole different level of confidence.
And then the run game for them too, with Chuba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State, had a 1,000-yard season.
He's rolling. He's rolling. He does a great job. Love his course discipline. No wasted steps, and he's a natural. Natural zone runner, and I think he does an excellent job breaking tackles and getting on the second level.
Are you tired of seeing Adam Thielen?
Oh my God, I know.
Adam Thielen was with Minnesota. Going back to Mike Zimmer's first year as head coach with the Vikings, and spent basically nearly a decade there, and now at Carolina. So you've seen him a lot. Huh?
No, Adam's just a hell of a football player. I mean, it was a thing just even as a young player. Just has such a natural feel for route running. Has a really good understanding of defenses, leverage, and he's a quarterback's best friend, and he's definitely been that in Carolina.
All right, defensively, and we talk about the emotional loss on Monday night with one of the biggest. It was DeMarvion Overshown, and you talk about I think whenever I've mentioned DeMarvion to you, first thing you say the bright light that he is when he walks into the room. A devastating loss for him and for what he now has to go through over the course of the next year to come back from another knee injury.
Yeah, definitely. Just saw him again this morning. In the training room, just trying to get ready for surgery, and but. Yeah, that's a big loss, and we've had a lot of them this year. So the game never slows down. And nobody, outside of your facility really cares. But the fact of the matter is, we've lost some really good guys, and he's a great example because you felt that. I mean, and I just think, if you saw it live or saw the replay, you knew. And just walking down the field, I knew he was in trouble. I knew it was serious. So, that was a big loss. And take it a step further too. Just watch him come back through the rehab last year, and we talked about the 3 guys last year going through the rehab over and over and over again. So, just to see him fight back, he's having a hell of a year. He's getting better and better each week, making impact plays. So, yeah, that's an exceptional loss for us.
You can't help but love DeMarvion Overshown if you ever met him. All right, we continue with more of the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment. Our Unsung Star of the Week.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Final couple of minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Unsung star this week, I'm going with the rookie third-round pick out of Notre Dame, Marist Liufau, who had a sack and a half last week. Of course, after DeMarvion went down with the injury, there were more reps for him on defense. But Marist is a guy that you have to be impressed with throughout this season, right?
Been impressed with Marist since day one. His first impression, being at the Notre Dame workout, he just has tremendous energy. Like Demo, those guys are individuals you gravitate to, and you can see, just the way they play, the way they approach, and he's just, he just needs more opportunities, and he's going to get more of it obviously now. But we've been actually growing him as the green dot, and just he's played all 3 positions in there, does an excellent job on special teams. So he is a young man with a very, very bright future.
The first time that I saw him on draft weekend after you drafted him, I thought, whoa, I think I see where Mike Zimmer probably sees some Eric Kendricks in Marist Liufau. I mean, they're similar body type and in the same position, obviously. But
yeah, and a little bit of Anthony Barr, too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go back to Anthony, also, because, Anthony and Eric were just such a great tandem there for Mike all those years up there in Minnesota. But definitely, because he has that position flex, like Anthony has that, can get on the edge and rush too. So he's definitely a dynamic football player.
All right, we appreciate all of you joining us here on the Mike McCarthy Show. Good luck against those Panthers on Sunday, and we will see you again next week when the Cowboys come home to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant, is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.